Not only is it possible, you can thrive without using fossil fuels. Our house just works like anyone else's house, just happens to run on solar. We have a 1 kilowatt solar system. It's in the backyard because we live in a housing cooperative and we couldn't get permission to put it on the roof. We were just another family. We were like, okay, let's make some changes in our house so we can use less electricity. We kept getting really pretty insane bills. We started taking turns, Andrew and I, every other month. It was somebody's turn to call Pepco, our utility here in Washington, D.C., and explain that something was wrong. And then the next month we get a $300 bill. And this went on for 3 years. And so one month, it was the year of 2009. I was like, you can't force me to buy your product. I don't want it. And Andrew's staring at me like I'm acting a little crazy.
Maybe if you were to think about our household as a ship on the road to environmental improvement, she would be the captain of the ship, I would be the skipper.
If you had to cut off your electricity, I would not recommend starting in January. We got out the camping equipment, we had camping stoves, sleeping bags.
So our winter setup would be a sleeping bag on every bed and a hot water bottle in the bottom here, and you will sleep cozy at night.
At the time, nobody knew we were doing this. Like, we went to work and nobody knew we didn't have electricity at home. It took a long time, I remember, to get the solar panel in 2009. And that was when we kind of turned it back on. Of course, we have to use a lot less to be able to live on the solar panel. We get vegetables from the farmer's market, we grow a lot of our food, and we compost. Our dishwasher and our washing machine and our ceiling fans are very, very efficient. The refrigerator is the one thing that's always plugged in. You know, we don't have a car, so we pretty much bike everywhere, and that's a big part of our lives.
It's a little bit like a camping trip, except it's a lot less intense than camping. Just like a camping trip, sometimes you have to be creative and figure out solutions to things that are maybe a little bit inconvenient, but you deal with them. This is a energy efficiency component that I administer most of the time. These are hot water bottles. We've got 4 of them. There's nothing better than a hot water bottle in the winter.
You know, I'm sure that there are people who absolutely think we're crazy, but for the most part, they're not our friends and family.
We have a water efficiency feature on the toilet. When you flush, the water that's going to fill the toilet basin is used for hand washing, which is then used to flush the toilet. One of the key ways that we keep the upstairs cool in the summer is this blind. Not only is it insulated, this, you'll see, pretty much blocks out all the light, and that will make a substantial difference.
If you don't have heating and air conditioning in your house, then you go over to your friends' houses more, you go to museums more, you go to the pool where the whole neighborhood's hanging out more. Like, the relationships that we have with our friends and neighbors are stronger because of the way we live, which I think makes us happier. It was a really discrete moment when I started to work on climate change. I actually was trained as a scientist and was working at NASA, and I was so concerned about the Arctic sea ice data. Seeing what was happening to the planet, I realized, like, we can't just assume that people are going to understand or get this. Like, we have to do something about it. This one? This one?
I think an important decision was to stick with one child. We were able to maintain basically everything that we had done before.
You can barely stand with the bike. Innovations spread when they become normalized, and people have to see them, and that's when they will want them.
They shouldn't be allowed to make climate change. That should be a law. So everybody will have bikes.
Since we installed our solar panels, costs have come down 80%. I know what the future that we are struggling for looks like, and I want to live in it now. You can have solar panels, and in fact, nothing in your house works any differently. You're just happening to not use fossil fuels at that point.